Welcome once again to another edition of The Street with Jay. I'm your host, Jafar Gibbons, or the original Jafar if you follow me on Instagram. If you're not following me, go and follow my Instagram so you can get access to premium content. I don't even know what I mean. You could also find me on Twitter as the future president Jafar because, of course, you have to manifest things in your life. I got a few persons from a cabinet already. You could also find me on LinkedIn as Jafar Gibbons because, of course, our brother needs a job and a brother needs a job. So just in case you want to give me a job, you can find me on LinkedIn. Okay, we have been absent for quite some time, so I must apologize for that. In our absence, a lot have transpired. It's so much that we can speak about. LeBron is now the all-time scoring leader of the NBA. Kudos to the brother who has been absolutely phenomenal throughout his career. An upright citizen at best. He's the best exemplar of what an athlete ought to be, or a professional athlete at that. That aside, Kanye West is no longer a billionaire, not to throw snide at him, but while we were shooting, he was, and right now he isn't. That has transpired as well. Beyonce didn't get Grammy of the Year for album. She didn't get a Grammy for Album of the Year. Harry Styles got it. Harry Styles is a former member of the One Direction group. Just to mention some of these things. Oh, did you guys know the security advisor to the president shops with $25,000 every month? And right now, Guyanese cannot believe it. We want to know where Via is shopping. How come he's only spending $25,000? We also want to know where he's shopping. Uncle Jerry, if you have the recipe, please share it with us. And the $17,000 for miscellaneous so we can party. We want to know what kind of partying Jerry does as well, because let's be real, we can only party one time, and that's with ourselves if we're using this miscellaneous to party. But of course, Uncle Jerry would tell you, you don't need to party. I don't know what Uncle Jerry is doing, but we need Uncle Jerry spending advice more. Maybe we should also get him on Common Sense. Well, I must apologize also for not having a book with me. You know, every time I shoot a video, I like to share, if not the book that I'm reading, one of the books in my library. And you guys know by now, I have not only the best library in Guyana, but I have the library with the most books. My current book that I'm reading, you will see the photo on screen, is called Games Nations Played by John Spanier. It's the 5th edition, which was copyrighted in 1984. You know, the first edition was written in 1972. It briefly describes, not necessarily briefly, but it describes how nations operate in the international system, how they are expected to operate, and what happens when they don't operate how they ought to, and some of the things we can do to mitigate international conflicts and international tensions. You know, so it's written by John Spanier, of course. He's an American. So it's very beautiful. If you're a student of international relations, it's definitely a book to read. No, I'm not lending. Yes, I bought the last copy on Amazon, so of course I'm not going to lend you that book. But it's a good book. If you want the soft copy, I can share that with you. I don't really read soft copy, but I do have one I can share with you. So that's that for that. So let's get right into it. Today, we're going to look at some of the lessons that you can learn while going to high school, or that you should hold dearly to your person while in high school, because we know precisely out of high school, you're going into the world of work, or as we would say, the professional world. And you know, in the professional world, especially in Guyana, a lot of things transpire that you might not be au fait with or familiar with, because sometimes school makes light of how the world actually operates. You know, in sociology, we say how men operate is far removed from how men ought to operate. Like the Machiavellian quote. I think it was Actually, it is Niccolo Machiavelli who said it in The Prince, that how men behave is far removed from how men ought to behave. So that's that for today. Okay, the first lesson you want to do is have mentors while in high school. Mentors help you navigate the world outside of school. They help you understand life on a much larger scale They help to take you through some of their experience. And we know today that you don't have to go through something physically to experience it. You can learn through the experience of others, and mentors provide that medium for learning for you. And you want to always be equipped with the knowledge on how life works outside of school. In Farm 4, Farm 5, you're definitely leaving school soon. You want to also pass maths and English. I can't stress this enough. Almost every single job requires maths and English. At least the last time I checked, the police force didn't require maths or English. None of the armed forces, depends on which rank you're going for, if my memory serves me correct. But that probably changed by now, because I'm telling you about 2014 knowledge. So of course that can change. Pass maths and English. Almost every single job in Guyana asks you for maths and English. You have to pass it to get a job. Of course, if you have a link, kindly disregard this message, because let's be real, if you have a link, you don't even need to have a subject. So that's that. Remember, pass maths and English. I had a sir in high school say you don't want to fail a subject to do it back, because the fact that you're doing it back means you're giving up 1 year of your life to do something that you could have already completed. And let's be real, nobody wants to give up a year of their life to anything that they would have already encountered before, unless you're trying to have another baby. So I must say that. Do not make enemies. That's rule number 3. Do not make enemies. Of course, in high school, you're going to have animosity. You're going to want to fight. You're going to fight. You're going to have bad blood with persons, but always find a way to come to an amicable resolution with persons. Always find a way to ease tension. Tensions are never good unless you are a warmonger. Then tension is okay, but you definitely don't want to have too much tension in your life as a young kid. These things can also lead to suicide. And let me tell you something, if you beat up a kid in high school and then you got to go to get a job and the person's family working at that job, they will try every single thing in their power to ensure that you don't have a job. And you definitely don't want to come out of high school and you don't have a job, unless, of course, like I said, you're rich. Disregard this message. Number 4, have positive role models. You always have to have persons that you look up to that are positive. I'm not telling you about Pablo Escobar. I'm not telling you about Osama bin Laden. I'm not telling you about Saddam Hussein. Have positive role models. For me, one of the greatest persons in my list of role models that I have is Kwame Nkrumah. First and foremost, a patriot. Secondly, a nationalist. Third, he won elections for Ghana while in prison. He led Ghana's fight against colonial powers for independence. It was very important in the creation of the Ghanaian state, and I think that is important. And these guys struggle. They struggle so much. Most of the struggles that you go through is minute to what these guys fought against. And I'm not talking about when they were fighting against colonial powers, but even powers right within the country, even before the ascension to presidency. Always have role models, and to see them succeed in light of all those obstacles, it kind of places on you the expectations that you can achieve anything regardless of circumstances. The human potential is limitless. There's absolutely nothing we can't achieve. As long as we have the will to achieve something, you best believe it will be accomplished. This is a scientific fact. There's absolutely nothing that we can't set our minds to. So I want to leave that with you. Always have positive role models. Keep an open mind. That's another rule. Keep an open mind. The important thing about life is that you're always learning. Life is a continuous process of learning. Even to the time of your death, you're still going to be learning something. Every day you learn something new. And like, for example, for today, I learned that America dropped more bombs in Vietnam than on Japan and Germany combined. So Think of something like that. Of course, if you're watching this now and you didn't know, now you know. So just like that, you learn something new. So every day you learn something new. Never be stuck in the things that you learn in high school. Some of them isn't even real. I don't even know why they're institutionalized to this point. But every day you learn something new. Do not believe everything you learn in high school is fixated. Those things are subject to change as times progress. Keep an open mind. That's the only way we can learn and evolve as persons, as individuals. Another rule is pay keen attention. Listen. As an individual, you have to be able to listen. You know, nobody likes somebody who talks all the time, unless you really talk about good stuff, which is me. Persons can listen to me all day, but that doesn't necessarily mean you will be a me or me will be a you, like Chris Tucker did say in Rush Hour. The point is, always be a good listener is a good learner, which goes back to the previous point of learning every day. You have to be willing, you have to be susceptible to learning, and the only way sometimes that we can is to listen so that we can understand and comprehend a message. Also, another rule: academic success is not the end of the road. You know, this institutionalized education is not the only way that we can learn or become successful. We've seen success stories like that of Jack Ma, like that of Kanye West, who didn't necessarily finish or completed their institutional education, but have risen to global acclaim, billionaire status, just by being creative. So do not think life is at the end of the tunnel if you do not succeed academically. Also, not everyone learn at the same pace, at the same things as well. Sometimes you might not be a book friendly person, but institutional education is so that you become book friendly. What about a mechanic or an electrician? Some schools do provide avenues for you for the electrician early learning. So you want to do not quit on your road to success because you're not academically sound. Take a vocational school, go to a technical institute, learn mechanical engineering, learn electrician, learn all of these things, because like I said, not everybody might be good with the books. I am lucky to be good with both the books and the ants, you know what I mean? But not everybody is like that. So you want to be able to understand that. Do not give up. Give up is not the option. Give up is not an option. Always remember that. Winners never quit and quitters never win. I don't even know where I got that from, but I got that from some song or some quote from somewhere. My last two lessons is going to be very, very, very important. First and foremost, always be grateful. You get something to eat from somewhere, even if it's from your sister, your mom, your brother. Even if it's from nowhere, just be grateful that you have something to eat. There are lots of persons in this world that are not privy to the privilege of eating and eating as often as you, even if it's one time a day. Some persons in the world are eating once a week. When you think you have things bad, some persons almost have it worse than you. I can guarantee you that. You're at school, focus. Not many persons are privileged to go to school. Public education is not public education everywhere in the world. So, you know, not everybody have access to school. I must shout out sympathy with my Afghan females who would have been instructed to be out of school by the Taliban. I must say, I don't stand for that. Everybody must have equal access to education. Regardless of what we think about education, I believe everyone should have access to education. I must also say that if you're watching this, pray for the brothers and sisters who would have lost their lives in the earthquake in Syria and Turkey. They have been affected by a 7.8 magnitude earthquake, and we cannot be more grateful for life and where we are, especially in Guyana, seeing some of these natural tragedies playing out. For those who have survived, alhamdulillah. If some of you can't donate whatever you can, please find a way to do so. Remember, you don't always have to give physical. A simple prayer, a simple shout out. Lastly, people, especially in high school, I cannot stress this enough. Keep impactful peers. Keep friends that can impact your life positively. If you are in high school, it's going to be very important. High school is a situation where you can either become gloom or doom by decisions you make, by the friends you keep. Not all friends or not all peers are good peers. You want to always be able to keep good friends, impactful friends, friends that can impact your life positively. Hey, I have a good business idea. What do you think about this? Hey, I think we can do this different. Hey, your maths is not mathsing. Let's look at it this way. Hey, let's play basketball. Hey, I see you kick the ball. There's potential there for football. You can become something. Hey, I like the essay you wrote for the English assignment. I think there's a career for you in writing. Look at it. You don't have to be a writer, but look at it. These are things that you want to keep. These are persons that you want to keep around you at all times. If someone is, hey, your essay wasn't good, or they never have something positive to say to you, keep them away. Of course, negative comments are not always bad. It can help in your finished product. It can help you become a better person. But if you notice that someone is always negative, they never necessarily have a solution to the problem, drop them. Do not mingle with them. You don't want that energy around you, especially in high school. And once again, thank you for tuning in to the Stray with Jay. We'll be back for more next week. Promise. I lie.